Hi there. Here's another chapter out of my book, Crow's Song. It's available on Amazon. If you live in New Zealand, I have paperbacks that are here and they're in some of the better quality bookstores. This is chapter 29. I'm going to speak now about the other protagonist, the girl who lives in England. Chapter 29. Lives for Sale, Chingford, 1943. Over the weekend, my cousins and I help Aunt Connie to organise the clutter in the old shed. Gnarled vines cover the dilapidated timber garage, which is scarcely standing amongst the tall weeds in the overgrown backyard. The exterior paint is peeled, with leaking window frames on one side and a rusting tin roof barely protecting anything on the inside. Joan and I pull on the weather-damaged timber doors. They screech along the concrete as we haul them open halfway. My hands are covered in rusty orange powder from the old metal chain and padlock which secured the double doors. Inside it smells of damp and musty mildew after years of neglect. Uneven patches of old oil leaked from vehicles once parked in here stain the rough concrete floor. The dark space now contains wooden crates, tea chests, and worn cardboard storage boxes piled from floor to ceiling. We shift several boxes of crockery and ornaments into the house. We stack them on the kitchen table and begin slicing through the tape across the top of each one with a kitchen knife. We unwrap layers of yellowing newspaper to discover ornaments and an old dinner service, brass candlesticks, and photos and picture frames. I sit amongst a mound of crumpled pages under the plaster archway in the dining room, scavenging amongst the hidden treasures in each box. "We are staying here forever," Aunt Connie says, pulling her bottom lip under her front teeth. "We're much safer in the country and we'll make it look like a proper home with these unpacked and put them right in their rightful places." Pat and Joan carry stacks of porcelain plates and bowls into the kitchen. Most belong to the same set of fine bone china with delicate rings of green leaves surrounding the edges of each piece. Each porcelain plate and bowl has been dipped in a thin liquid line of gold, so the rims and edges of cups and plates glow in the sunlight. Aunt Connie separates some pieces and instructs me to dust them off with a tea towel and load them into the oak sideboard. "We should wash them all, but I'll do it later, before we use them at Christmas. Let's just pack them away first." I reach into each open box and feel the shapes, choosing which parcel to unwrap. It's like a treasure hunt without sweets wrapped in colourful paper. My cousins play crockery relay, passing dishes to one another with Joan stacking them inside the sideboard cupboards. Joan is the tallest of the three of us and reaches up to the highest cupboards in the kitchen. We store away a few unwanted things like Uncle Rex's tobacco pipes and his pair of wireframe glasses. It's a pity they killed him in the war because he was such a nice man and always laughing with us. Fed up, Pam leaves the unpacking and stacking of plates and goes outside to pull carrots from the veggie garden for dinner. 10 minutes later, Joan joins her to dig for potatoes to roast. I remain drawn to the past, wishing I could travel back to those days and eat from silver platters and drink champagne from crystal glasses. I unwrapped the last 2 serving dishes in the last box. Someone buried them under a triple layer of old newspaper. I place the delicate platters on the table, unwrapping both. I smooth out the thick section of old newspaper, flattening it enough to read. The pages are from the year 1938. Spreading both palms across the centerfold, I press open the broadsheet. Each page is crushed and wrinkled, though still readable, with headlines and columns of typed words. I flip a page and read fragments, staring at pop photos and line drawings from 11 years ago. While I'm cooking my tea, you can read some of it to me. "What's the date say on the top of the right-hand corner of the print?" says Auntie Connie. "It's so small." I peer at the top of the page. "It looks like September. Is it 1938? Maybe the 11th. "Go on then. Pick something. That's before the war. Seems a lifetime ago now." Aunt Connie turns to the onions on the chopping board, 2 large brown ones I dug up with carrots from the garden yesterday. I rifle through the fragile double pages before reading the front page. Small blocks of text inside boxed lines cover the page. The header of the top of the newspaper reads, Classifieds, and I read this odd word out aloud to my aunt. Classifieds, you mean, corrects Aunt Connie, distracted by the boiling pot on the stove. What are classifieds, Aunt Connie? I see, it seems such a strange word, and I've never heard it before. Ads for jobs, things for sale, that kind of thing, she says, with her back to me, stirring the pot with a large wooden spoon. It's the same one that stung my bottom when I was a naughty child. Read one to me and you'll understand. She's preoccupied with adding herbs and salt to the pot, rumbling in front of her, steam clouds rising to the ceiling. Pick one and read one to me. Please, I read out loud. Take my child. What? Read that again? She turns to face me. That's what it says. Please take my child. I stand and push the kitchen chair away. Leaning forward, I use both palms to smooth the pages down on top of the table. Go on, she encourages. Pam and Joan return to the kitchen with a wicker basket full to the brim with fresh vegetables, their roots thick with clumps of dirt. Wanted. Any kind of family to take my child. I continue to read in a clear voice, not quite understanding what my lips were saying. 5 years old, well-mannered and polite. She is no trouble. The words bounce around my head. What is this? How could they advertise a child in our newspaper? What are you reading? Joan frowns. The rest of us stand in silence, trying to absorb the sounds of the words and the implications of the meaning. Read another, says Pam. Boy, 12, private education, seeks kind-hearted family, will assist with housework and other work, I pronounce, having moved across to the adjacent column of tight typeface print. Why are they so short? Why are they selling their children in 3 short sentences, I ask. They aren't selling them, stupid, Joan says, raising her chin with a superior sneer. That's enough, my aunt interrupts. The parents live in Austria and fear for the safety of their children with the war coming. Remember, this is the newspaper in 1938, and these are from Jewish parents attempting to save their children's lives. Joan picks up another batch of old newspaper I had strewn on the carpet. She unfolds and smooths it out on the table. Look at this. Situations vacant. Lots of ads from Jewish people in Germany and Austria seeking work as butlers, maids, gardeners and chauffeurs, Joan says, running her index finger down the columns of the Telegraph. Her fingers scroll down the rows of black print as she looks across at her mother. Seeking work as cook housekeeper, distinguished Viennese lady, good appearance, blonde, 32. I pull a face. It sounds awful. It is awful, says Aunt Connie, facing the 3 of us who are staring back at her. But at least they could remain alive and not be killed in the war. Joan tilts her head again. That's only if someone answered the ad. She reads out a few more lines. Father in concentration camp, 3 boys, 8 to 12, and 3 girls, 13 to 16, have to leave Germany. Is anybody willing to help? Joan can't stop, and she continues to read in a strong voice, each line cutting through the comfortable late afternoon air. Urgent appeal. Who will help my 2 sons out of concentration camp, aged 21 and 23, by offering trainee posts? Please take my daughter, 13 years old, Annalise, well-mannered, able to help with household work, speaks German, French and a little English, and plays the piano. I thought I am the only one reading. Joan glances at me and moves into the kitchen, and I slump into the kitchen chair to continue the heartbreaking task of reading practice. My life is not so bad. Will an English family be kind enough to take my son, age 14, with, I hesitate, the next word, knowledge of English, and to, what's this? I lift the page up for Aunt Connie to read. Procure him employment, she says, emotionless. I repeat the words. What does it mean? To give him a job, Joan says. My eyes move towards the bottom of the old newspaper, latching onto another sad entry. I seek a kind person who will educate my intelligent boy. These words ring in my heart, a cloud of deep sadness and desperation from a terrified mother trying to protect her only child's life. I am so lucky. Oh, Crow Song, available on Amazon, 4.7 stars. It was published in February this year.